Hi everybody. You are 1 week done with your statistics course, and as we get into week 2, we're going to be examining data. And I've graded a couple of homeworks, and I decided that I think the thing I could help you on the most is maybe how to use technology to analyze data, to compute some statistics. So I've gone here to our Blackboard page. I'm at the announcements. When you log in, that's what you get. I can go to syllabus and schedule or assignments. You'll notice now if you look at homeworks 3, 4, and 5, I started to give you some advice for getting through those next 3 assignments that we'll be doing next week after quiz 1. Quiz 1 is also available on chapters 1 and 2. You need to take that by Monday at noon. But let me scroll down a little further to web links. And I'm going to show you how to make use of some of the technology we have. Oh, before I do that, back to assignments. And let me show you homework 3 for a minute. Read or watch videos in chapter 3. I'll be collecting homework from the end of the chapter. This is due Monday at midnight rather than Monday at noon because, well, you have the quiz due at noon. And look at problem 1. Make up a data set of 12 numbers with a positive skew. We've talked about data being skewed positive or skewed negative, and we've seen 2 kinds of graphs that represent this. We did it with a histogram, and we also did it with a box plot on the homework assignments from last week. Then it says, use a statistical program to compute the skew. And I'm not sure you would know what to use. It didn't say what to use, so I thought let me show you what to do on this video. So like I said, this is under assignments, but where I want to go is this link down here that says web links. And I'm going to click on the first one, links to Google Sheets Statistics Calculator templates. When I click that, I get a PDF file that I'll open up here. And it has a whole bunch of links. And I may have shown you this on the intro video, but I'm going to click on one variable statistics, and that's going to open Google Sheets for me. And so, well, let me show you that. It's still taking a little time here, but it'll open shortly. There we go. So it says one variable statistics. By the way, notice that my Google Drive right here says view only. That's the mode I'm in. You can only view this document. What I'll do, since I want to use this calculator, is I will make my own copy of one variable statistics in my drive. I'll say OK. And you guys will have to tell me if you have any difficulty doing this. I have a Google Drive. It's something I set up because I have a Gmail account, a YouTube account. If you don't have that, it may prompt you to create a Google account. But they're free, and they're very, very worthwhile, I would say. Okay. Note, only the yellow cells are to be input by the user. Input data into the yellow cells of column A. And so if I click on one variable statistics, you'll notice they have some sample data here in cells 6 to 16. It says 10, 57, 61, 80, 82, 85, 90, 93, 95, 57, and 200. Don't ask me what that data represents. But you'll notice here on the right, there are all kinds of things that have been computed. The mean is 82.7273. The mode is 57. By the way, what is that? The mode, you may recall, is the measure of center that appears most often, and notice it appears twice. I think that's why they threw it in there. It's talking about the sum of the x's and the sum of the x squareds because that's something that's used to compute what's called the standard deviation. You'll learn about that this week. That's a measure of how spread out the data is. Okay. We talked about this kind of plot, the whisker plot. We called it a box and whisker plot. And you'll notice here I have the median, the 50th percentile. Here's the 25th percentile, or the first quartile, and the third quartile. And those are represented on the graph call those the upper and lower hinges of the box plot. The minimum value is 10 and the maximum value is 200, and so there's this long whisker above, and we would call this a positive skew graph. Okay, so if you were to change the data, say change this to 100, it'll change the graph for you. And notice now we have a negative skew graph, don't we? So that's interesting. I'll go back to 200 and change it. Now, one of the things this doesn't measure that the assignment asked me to measure for chapter 3, use a statistical program to compute the skew. Well, that's not on here, but I want to tell you that spreadsheets have many, many, many statistical functions built in. And so you see how we have this little chart that they created that has the sample size. I want you to understand how this works. I'm going to put my cursor on that 11, because sure enough, there are 11 data values here. But I want you to understand how it computed it. See, if you put your cursor on sample, and if you look up here where it says fx, that stands for function, it just says sample. And if you use the down arrow or the mouse and click on size n, right up here it says size n. This always tells you what's really in the box. But if I go down one more and click on that 11, notice it does not say 11. It says equals count A6 colon A106. Count is a function, and what it does is it looks at those cells from A6 to A106, and it counts how many of them are filled. I'm going to put my cursor up here. This is cell A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. Here is A6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And by the way, you'll notice the rest of the yellow cells, which is where you're supposed to put your data, there's nothing else in there, right? All of these, like take the mean for instance, notice it says it's using the function called average from A6 to 106. This number here, the 82, that's the median from A6 to A106. See, these are functions that are built into the spreadsheet. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to type in skewness. Okay. And that doesn't do anything. It just puts a little label for me. But then next to this sample size, I'm going to create a function that'll be skewness, and I'll show you how this works. Anytime you want to do a function in a spreadsheet, you type an equal sign, and that tells the computer, hey, we're about to do a computation. And I'm going to type SK. By the way, back when I typed S, it gave me a whole lot of things I can compute. The secant and the sine and the sum, those are all math ideas. But once I type SK, it's talking about two functions, skew or skew.p. I want skew here. And then it types in open parentheses, and it's asking me, what should the input be? And I'm telling you, I'm going to do A6 because that's the starting cell. That's where my 10 is over here on the right. I'm going to hit a colon because I want a whole bunch of data. I'm going to go down to 106 in case I ever have a whole lot of data, like 100 data points or something. And notice if I press enter, it computed it. It says that this is skew 1.409, so we do have some positively skewed data here. Now I only have 11 data points. I guess I'm supposed to have 12 for the homework, right? Here, I'll throw in a 13. It looks like it's still positively skewed, right? And so now I guess here is one answer you could have for exercise 1 on the chapter 3 homework. Is the mean larger than the median, as it usually is for distributions with a positive skew? Let me check that. If I go back to my copy, the mean is 76.9 and the median is 81. Wow, that's weird. The mean is not larger than the median for the example I have here. Here, let me change this to 100. Now the mean is larger than the median. Okay, that's what usually happens, but not always. So I think that's interesting. It It really depends on the data. But what I'm trying to do here, guys, is give you a tool to use as you're learning statistics. You know, some of you did your graphs by hand this week, and that was great, but it's time to start getting comfortable with the computer. And I hope that my course, by the end of these next 7 weeks, that my course is going to make you more comfortable with your computer than you ever have been before. By the way, at the end of the course, you'll notice that we're going to be doing some work with the case studies. And just for kicks, I'm going to go down here to the bottom. Questions from the case studies. Here we go. The following questions are from the Angry Moods case study. Now, this is not assigned, but this is something you might do on your final project. Number 20. Does anger out have a positive skew, a negative skew, or no skew? Well, I'll show you how you could do this. If you were to click either on Angry Moods or the relevant section, it'll take me. Oh no, that's not it. I have to go to the Angry Moods. So only click on that Angry Moods link. Here's the Angry Moods study, and it has all kinds of information. And they ask me questions here like, number 4, does anger out have a positive skew, a negative skew, or no skew? So maybe I want to answer that. Well, where's the data? Well, you go way to the bottom here, okay? And it says you can show the data. There's a whole bunch of data. So in theory, you could copy this and put it into that spreadsheet that we've been working on, right? And so here's anger out. Control in, anger out. The other thing you can do, by the way, if you have Excel, this is a Microsoft spreadsheet. It's not free, but many people have it on their computers. I think the computers at Lakeland all have it. So here's anger out, right? And so I could copy all of this data. So I'm going to do that. There it is. Looks like that goes from 2 to 79. So I'm going to right click and click the copy. And so now it's all highlighted and it's all ready to copy. And where I want to copy it is I want to go to that Google Sheet. I'm going to go to the first cell of that yellow. And then I'll right click again and I'll click on paste. And now it's all in that yellow area. Of course, it's not yellow anymore. But notice what happened. It gave me all kinds of calculations. And so it tells me that the mean of this anger out, whatever it means, is 16.07. And the median is 16, so those are close. The mode is 18. The sample size is 78. And now over here where I created my skewness, I have 0.58. So that is a positive number, right? It's greater than 0. And so I guess I could answer that question now, which was, where did I put it? Oh yeah, does anger out have a positive skew, negative skew, or no skew? It looks to me like it has a positive skew. And again, to try and do these computations, while I do want to understand these formulas, it certainly is a lot easier to understand if you want to actually do the computations, you should use the tools, right? The spreadsheets that we have. I'll say one last thing. If you want to know how this skewness is being computed, I think this is probably the easiest way to do it. If you were to Google Pearson's moment coefficient of skewness, like I did, and if you were to click on this second link here, www.statistics-how-to, I think this gives you a pretty nice explanation, including a video actually, but I would move beyond the video and just take a look at the formulas, but you can do whatever suits you best. We already have a pretty good feel for what skewness means, right? Are the data values far away from the center in the positive direction or in the negative direction, right? And if it's more towards the positive direction, we would say it's skewed in the positive direction. And so in this case, the whisker above is definitely bigger than the whisker below, so it's skewed positive. That's all for now. I wish you a successful week 2, and I'll be here if you have any questions. Don't hesitate to reach out. Bye for now.